Hello, everyone. In this episode, I'm going to discuss a relatively basic topic with you, which is when we design our backyard garden to grow some vegetable or fruits, what choices do we have? Should we choose to directly improve our soil, or make raised bed, or just use some containers to do some gardening? I think many beginners will be confused what kind of method should they start with. Okay, there are three ways that I just talk about to grow fruits or vegetables. The first one is row sowing. That is very traditional method. What we usually see on the seed package is row spacing and seed spacing. When we translate this into gardening, the seed spacing means the distance between the plants. As you can see on the photo, this traditional method is more suitable when your backyard is relatively large and your space is very sufficient. The middle one is called raised bed vegetable gardening. It is suitable for a smaller backyard that is more compact. For example, the places like California where the land is very expensive. And the third one, it is called container gardening. Basically, you put plants in the pot. It is suitable for some beginners who just want to, get their hands wet to start and don't want to invest too much. And maybe they can do something to see if they're interested in gardening. Or your space is very limited. For example, you only have a balcony and your land is covered by cement. It is also suitable for small kids. Now let's look at the advantage of each cultivation method one by one. Let's see the advantage disadvantages. So the first one we're looking at is traditional planting method. In Chinese, it's called regis. It's actually we just plant the vegetables in rows. If you look at a picture I'm showing you right now, we can see this photo was taken in May 2020. This is the first year I started gardening. All right, so let's take a look at the advantage disadvantage of this traditional method. The first advantage is it can receive very sufficient light because there's large space between the rows so that people need to walk through it. It is easy, it is convenient for the management, and also it has the best sunlight. The second one is it doesn't need additional construction of the raised bed, so it saves lots of money. The third one is it is easy to remove. It is easy to reverse. So these are the main advantages. Disadvantages, the first one is, of course, as I talk about, you need lots of space. The second disadvantage, of course, is you need to improve your soil, especially when you found the soil in your garden is very hard clay, for example. Then you need to add cow manure, you need to get compost to improve your soil, put some soil amendment. And it could be a lot of work if you want to plant lots of vegetables. In this video, it shows that I'm trying to improve the soil, even though I'm not using the traditional method, but the concept is the same. I put cow manure and some chicken manure and use electric tiller to till the soil. And it could save a lots of labors. And this improving is very important because you will add organic matters, and it will also make your soil much loose so that the roots can grow much better. Okay, the third disadvantage is it will have some weeds issues because we're using original garden soil. There are lots of weed seeds in it. So this means in the middle of our cultivation process, we need to remove a lot of weeds. It could be also very labor costive. So the last one is because this traditional method is on the flat ground, you need to do a lot of squat position to do maintenance. This means it will put some pressure on your knees, and also you will sometimes hurt your waist. It's not very friendly for old people, unfortunately. Okay, so this video we're watching right now is the drone video that I took in 2020, which I started gardening using the traditional method. All right, let's look at the second method, raised bed gardening. Let's talk about advantage first. The first advantage is, of course, it can save some space because we don't have to build a row spacing between different plants. The second one is it is better for soil improvement because, as we can see here, we fill the good quality of soil in the raised bed instead of improving the original garden soil. And it's also good for improving the slope land. On some slope land, you can build raised beds to level it out. All right, this shows in my backyard how many stones I dig out from the ground. As you can see, we have to sift them out. Imagine it's a lot of work if you want to improve your soil. So for this reason, I just built some raised beds on the top of this. And as you know, in America, it would be very expensive to throw the trashes after construction. So lots of contractors, they just dump everything back in your backyard and then cover them with mulch, etc. So this is very bad practice, but unfortunately, lots of people do that. And you could also imagine that these impurities, this trash will actually contaminate the soil. So even though you remove the stones, you may still have some contamination in your soil. Therefore, building a raised bed is a better option. And this is, I'm not kidding. This underwear is what I dig it out from my ground. It's unbelievable. People throw all kinds of trash in the backyard. I want to show example of a radish that grows in a poor soil that has a lot of stones. As you can see, the roots split out. It looks really ugly. It's edible, but still not as pretty as what we can imagine for a radish. And this is another example of a good radish that grow in perfect soil. You can see the shape, the color, everything is perfect because there's no block. All right, this photo shows what I just mentioned. It is called terrace. It is a very popular method in China who can grow the vegetables or grains crop on a slope. You could imagine this as a raised bed, actually step by step. So you can use this method to level out for your slope land. Good concept. The third advantage is easy to management because the raised bed is actually higher than the ground. So usually you don't have to bend or squat too much to do some management. And the fourth one is the raised bed is typically very organized. As you can see here, is really clean. It's really organized. You can see the pathway between them. You can easily walk through them. And one other thing I want to emphasize here is because it is also easy for you to plan for your vegetable garden because each raised bed has a certain area. You know the area, how large they are, for example, 4 feet by 8 feet, and then you know the plant space you should have for each vegetable, so you can plan everything ahead much better. The last advantage is It typically has less weeds and pests because the soil you fill in the raised bed is what you buy. It's typically very clean, sterile, and also weed seed free um, pest. Of course, nothing is perfect, so let's focus on the disadvantage of the raised bed. The first one is the initial cost is very high. Imagine that when you build a raised bed, you need to buy either wood, brick, or some metals or some other plastic material. So that's just pretty high cost. Second, you need to fill the raised bed with already mixed soil. That soil is not cheap either. Okay. The second one is the raised bed needs some maintenance. For example, the wood would rot after a couple of years. You may have to change them from time to time. So maintenance. Third one is the raised bed is very hard to move. Um, for example, I want to move out to another place. Then I'm thinking about selling the house. Then I have to remove this raised bed. If the guy don't want raised bed, right? It's hard to remove, hard to reverse. The last one is probably okay for most of the people. Is it's very hard to scale up. So if you look at the commercial grower, they never build raised bed because it's impossible because the it is very cost prohibitive. So a couple of things I want to remind everybody when designing a raised bed. The first one is the long side of a raised bed is better facing from east to west for the full sun. Second one is taller plants usually plant on the top, on the north of the raised bed, because of the shadow problem. And the third one is the distance between the raised bed need to be at least 2 feet for people to walk through or for the cars to pass. All right, so let's take a look at the last planting method, which is container gardening. Basically, you grow everything in a pot. So let's talk about advantage first. First one is if you have a very limited space, for example, you only have a balcony, or your backyard is sealed with cement, right? And then this is a good choice for you. Or you're not sure if you will be very into gardening. You want to get something, just start yourself. Container gardening is a good choice. For example, you can grow some herbs um, to start with because you don't need a lot of herbs to cook. And container gardening is one of the best choice. The second one is beginner friendly. As I said, as a beginner, you can do some container gardening as a good start. It's also it's a kid friendly. For example, you can grow a pot of strawberry, as the photo I show on the left, and I'm pretty sure kids will really enjoy growing their own food, their own vegetables or fruits in a small garden, in a small container. The third one is the soil in the container is very easy to control, meaning that you can change the soil, you can mix your own soil, you can buy the container soil, and in most situations, the soil that you use in the container is very high quality. Is sterile, also is free of pests and the pathogens that will generate pests and disease in the soil. The number four advantage is movable and flexible. As you can imagine, for example, you plant something in the wrong place in a container, a pepper in a shaded area. Now you realize it, and then you can easily move the thing to the sunny spot. But if you grow in the ground, you have to dig it out. The plant could easily die. The last one for the advantage of strawberry is it's good for invasive plants, and this is very important for some of the beginners because if someone plant, let's say, mint in the ground, it will expand very rapidly to everywhere because the roots of the mint will propagate in the soil quickly. But if you plant it in the pot, then you can confine this plant. Another thing I want to mention is not written here is the potting method sometimes can allow you to save your fruits. For example, like the strawberry here, the reason why I grow it in a pot on a high rack is because typically most of the animals, small animal like birds, they are not afraid of open area, but they are afraid of the space that close to a house. So imagine if you could put a rack and put some containers near your house and plant this strawberry. It could save some fruits for you. But if you plant it in the ground, I'm pretty sure the chance that you can eat this fruit is very, very rare. After talking about the advantage, let's talk about disadvantage. The first big disadvantage is watering and fertilizing can be hard. As you can imagine, the space in the pot is very limited. Therefore, you have to water it more frequently, and also the fertilizing schedule has to be very well maintained because, again, as the soil is very limited, the roots doesn't have the stretch to absorb the nutrients from other place, so you have to feed the plants more frequently. Okay, the second one is the root bounding problem, because the pot has limited space, so the roots typically can grow surrounding the inside of the pot quickly, and it could choke up your plants. So there are two ways to solve that. One of them is use grow back. There's air pruning process. Second one is probably you have to change your pots a little bit more frequent, or trim prune some of your roots. The third one is the plant size is also limited because of the limited of the soil. For example, a pepper that grow in the ground will be much larger than growing in the 5-gallon bags. However, if your bag is like 30-gallon, then you won't see much of a difference. All right. The last one would be high cost. As I said, you have to buy pot, and you have to buy the dedicated soil for the container gardening. So that's high cost. Also, the maintenance, like watering and fertilizing, is also cost for labor. All right, let's take a couple examples of container gardening. So this particular video shows that I'm harvesting mint in a small pot. It's a very pleasant experience, actually. And the second one is a strawberry that I grow in a pot and leave it in a very high position so that I can avoid some animals to attack it. And this is another interesting example that I grow peach in the pot. See how large a peach it can grow. It's a small pot, actually. And the last video shows this is a cucumber that I'm harvesting in the middle of the winter. It's the coldest area. Actually, you can see the advantage of the container gardening indoor. You can grow things in a different season. All right, so this is the end of this episode. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you have any comments, please leave it down below. And for the next episode, I'll be covering the trellis system for building a garden, which is also a very important topic to design a garden. Please subscribe my channel, and please share my video to your friends if you like. I'm looking forward to see you next time. Thank you.